Hope we all, you know, well, we all did. We're here. We are here. It's Watch Me Work. And we're going to do what we've been doing for like 15 years. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We started in the lobby of the public theater as sort of a joke, something that would be really fun to do. And we decided that it would be great. We like I thought, hey, what a fun thing to do, to hang out with people and focus on their work and their process, whatever kind of work they're doing. And so, whatever kind of work you're doing, we invite you to do it with us. We will work together for 20 minutes, and then we will talk with you about your work and your creative process. And while we don't have time for you to actually share your work, um, we do have plenty of time for you to talk about process, talk shop with you. And if you should have a question during the question time, please, Zoe, want to tell us? No. Oh,
Hi, it's Harris. We're here at the New Work team. What you can do at the end of the 20-minute session is along the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a react button. If you click that, there's a raise hand function. You can raise your hand, and then we will let you know where you are in the queue. You can unmute yourself and feel free to ask SLP your question.
awesome, Harris. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we give love to the New Works project. That's not what you guys are. You're the New Work. What is the name of your department, y'all?
The New Work Development Team at the Public.
New Work Development Department at the Public Theater, and also HowlRound have been supporting us steadfastly and generously all these years. So we give lots of thanks to y'all, and we can work now. All right, all right, all right. It is that wonderful time where if y'all have questions, I'll find some answers. I'll find some answers in here somewhere. And
Hi, Joy.
there you go.
Hello.
Feel free to ask your question. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you. I appreciate that. These meetings are so helpful. Okay, so here's my question. I might need a little help in articulating it.
Okay.
So I'm working on a musical.
Okay.
Dance is in, thanks, Kimmy D. Dance is intrinsic to this musical.
Yes.
And so I'm using dance to help tell the story.
Yes.
And so Act 1 has 5 important dances to convey story. Act 2 has 6 important dances to convey story and plot development. So my question is, and sometimes the characters sing while they're dancing, you know, the thoughts in their head, because triple threats ought to be able to breathe and dance and sing at the same time. So my question is, in showing this written work for competition, it hasn't been workshopped yet. It's had a public reading. But in showing this work for workshops or potentially for competitions, choreography doesn't really get written into the script. I mean, there's not necessarily a universal way that I'm aware of to write choreography. In this particular dance style, which I have some background in, I could say names of steps, you know, in the stage direction that I think, you know, are important to convey with what's happening between the characters. But I'm anticipating when I get to a workshop, maybe next summer, that the more choreography will take over. So we could take out some of the talking and in a scene and let dance tell a bit more of the story. But at this point in time, my question is, how much dance description do I include in the script?
Right.
I'll stop talking.
No, you can keep talking. I enjoy listening to you, Joy. And my question is, so you are also do you intend to be the choreographer?
No, because I mean, I think I will confer with the choreographer. But I'd like the choreographer to be able to draw on 2 styles. One is Broadway style dancing, but the other predominant style is to have a background in tango. And yeah, so I don't have the Broadway style choreography. And while I have tango background, it's not as extensive as some other people I've researched who, you know, would be willing to step up into that role.
Right.
To choreograph the tango dances.
Right. Cool. Let's see. It's a great question and it's a great sort of problem to have. And I think there's a solution, just as, you know, words don't really tell a story unless you organize them in such a way that would convey a story, right? So I think I think one, exhibit your familiarity with the styles that you're familiar with by referencing certain steps. That wouldn't hurt, because it's going to show the reader that, you know, you're familiar with what you know what you're talking about, right?
Right.
Also, I would tell the story that will be conveyed in the dance. You know, he doesn't want to have anything to do with them, and then when they trade the TV set, you know, they sit down and watch the ball game together, whatever the story is. You know what I mean? Tell the story through dance. Use the steps that you think might be helpful where appropriate, and also put a note in the script, you know, as we workshop this, dance might take more of the real estate than the dialogue. Okay, that, but definitely tell the story. You know, if you like, if you go to the any dance piece, you see Alvin Ailey, you see Swan Lake, you see any of those. There's a story that they're telling with the right. So if you were to say, what's the story of I'm blanking on Alvin Ailey stuff that I go watch like every year with my mom, but you know, Revelations. You know, what is the story of that? Well, they're going to tell you this is the story of this, and then this happens, and this happens, and this happens. They tell all that. And they might even reference certain certain, you know, choreographic things. Does that make sense?
It does, thank you. And just one more, a second part to the question, if I may, and I'll make it super short because it's really intrinsically related. When I get to a workshop, any suggestions? I mean, I'm aware that a workshop is like the standard 29 hours over 1 or 2 weeks. That doesn't necessarily include choreography. And so if I'm incorporating the choreographer into the workshop, could we, because we want to observe the 29 hours, then maybe budget time for a few days after the workshop just to focus on choreography?
Or a few days before or a few days during.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if I, you know, did workshop something I'm writing, we wouldn't need to spend 2 days, 3 days in a workshop on choreography because there isn't any choreography. You know what I'm saying? But it sounds like choreography is integral to the storytelling. So you could put that in a project description. You could say that that's what you would like. You know, there's so many different ways to make a show these days. Articulate what would be most helpful to you in the workshop process. You know, this is what I'd like to spend the first 2 days on just choreography, and then we can sit around and do table read on day 3. You know what I mean? And then get on our whatever. You could sort of imagine what you would like.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I didn't know if the choreography time needed to be counted in the 29 hours.
That's a kind of a union thing. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean, I know that with musicals, there are sectionals, they break off. There's all kinds of ways to make it work. It really depends on what your producing organization is willing to organize for your show, in my experience. Does that make sense?
It does. We don't know who the producing organization is going to be yet. I mean, we have some investor money, so we may be self-producing.
Great.
And so,
Great. But you can budget, you can say, you know, choreography is really important. Let's just, you can just have a workshop on choreography. You could spend the whole 29 hours or whatever, you know, just on the choreography. We're just going to work on that. I mean, there are musicals that just spend time we're just going to work on the music this week. We're just going to work on the book this week. You know, we're just going to work on the whatever. You can structure it as you need. And if you really want to sort of develop the vocabulary to talk about what the actors are going to be doing on stage and what kind of story they're telling, you might want to just work on the choreography for a week. That wouldn't be bad. You know, it would be it sounds like fun.
I think it's fun. Thanks. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Susan. Super appreciate it. Thanks.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Joy. Hi, Jen. How are you? Feel free to ask your question.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Nice to see you all. Hey, Joy, I saw Stereophonic on Broadway, and one of the takeaways was that none of the actors knew how to play an instrument before they were cast. So they would spend an entire day rehearsing, and then they would spend 4 hours practicing their instruments. So just food for thought. SLP, nice to see you. The day after our most recent episode, I decided to copy your idea of writing a play a day. And I would like to hear you talk a little more about the days when things didn't just come. I'm 150 pages in. Some of it's interesting, some of it's not. And I heard you make reference to getting to the end and realizing that, this is just a almost unmanageable amount of work to put in a 2-hour presentation. Can we talk about your process during that year, how you found inspiration each of these times, even when there wasn't maybe something that was urgent inspiration?
Sure. It's funny because when you started talking about it, I was like, what is Jed talking about? Because
Okay, the election set me off,
because
and I
I've done it
needed
more
a way to keep distance from that toxic energy.
because I've done it more than once, so I was confused. What would
Oh,
what would be probably more helpful to you is if we talked about how you're doing instead of me talking about my process.
mhm.
Let's talk about your process. So it sounds like from what you said that you're wondering how might you find something when you feel like nothing's there.
Yeah. And I'm keeping my antenna up so that I am in receiving mode, but some days it's just not there. Yet 25 days later, I have been cranking out the pages.
So how long are your intent? What do they look like? I mean, I hope they're
Oh,
not.
they're like 5-minute scenes.
Huh?
5-minute scenes.
No. I said, how long are your antennas? I said, I hope they're
Oh, how long are my antennas?
how long.
Never measured. But I'm sure there's always room for improvement.
Well, because you might have to pull them out a little further and
Hmm.
notice the things that you don't notice. Embrace the things that are kind of boring.
That is the sort of thing that I am attempting to capture is somewhat mundane interactions that might not get in the journal, might not get into a piece I'm writing, but treating individual discrete interactions with people.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm not sure that it all ties together at the end.
But you're not at the end.
It's true. That is absolutely true.
I
And I'm
mean,
still working on all the other pieces. So
right,
yeah,
exactly. You've got a big, gorgeous, full plate. I mean,
which we renamed.
oh, you
It
did.
is now called What the Fox.
It's really great.
I thought the troop was a little bland and a little too militaristic.
Oh,
Um, I mean, it's kids on a camping trip. So
that's
uh,
perfect.
I'm hoping that it goes over. But so far,
That's a good,
solid response from actors and
fantastic. Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah, and
Well,
finished the act up play last week. So that's starting to go out now.
there you go. Congratulations. See all
Thank
these
you.
wonderful things you're doing. I would just say, you said I'm
Thank you.
embracing the somewhat mundane, you know, qualifier somewhat. So
Uh,
no, so there is
so just a passing interaction with a barista, for instance.
and that's somewhat mundane.
Well, it wouldn't go in my journal normally.
Yeah, but this isn't your journal.
That's correct.
I love it. You're like it's this isn't your journal. This is what happens.
Mhm.
This is you can and you don't even have to embrace the somewhat mundane. You can embrace the mundane. Oh my God. Then you can embrace the whatever. I mean, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? You have to move, you have to widen your embrace.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Oh, you're already doing it. You're already doing it.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Fun.
Thank you, Jen. Hi, Emmanuel. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Hi.
Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, I've been working at the same time as this, so
All
I've
right.
been missing it a lot. But very, very excited to be back.
Yeah, likewise. Good to have you.
Thank you. It's always good to know that it's like, here, and I'm like, oh, as soon as I can get back, the communities, yeah, it's amazing. So I'm writing usually I write like for musicals, like both music and like the story and stuff. And I just started writing with another collaborator who's writing the book, and then I'm just writing the music. And what she's written is amazing and like gut punchy and just really very tight. And so I'm supposed to insert songs into that. And just the question would be, it does need music. So it's not like music would be superfluous. It's just how to, I guess, collaborate with another text and to write lyrics that would be helpful and not detract from, because it's so tight, it's so good, I think, what she's written. Yeah, ways to think about and to play with delving into someone else's world to add to it or to play with it. Anyway, so I haven't found a way to crack my way in yet.
That's a great question. I mean, is it her world, someone else's world, or is it your world? The plural.
Yeah, we decided on the concept together. We made the story, but she went off and wrote.
It's good. It's I'm employing the neuro-linguistic programming. Like,
okay,
what are you telling yourself about what's going on that might make what you want to do more difficult? So
right.
it's hard for me to get into her world. Okay. It's hard for me, or instead of, I haven't found a way to get into our world yet. That's a different, right? I want to crack, it's hard for me to crack it. Do you really want to crack it? Do you want to enter? Just things like that. You're a word person. So let's realize that words are magical. Words are wands. They're magical. So let's really think about all the words we use to talk about the things that we are doing, So question, energetically. So gut punchy, how many characters?
There are too many. I mean, there are a lot. But it's an ensemble. There are like two ensembles, I guess, characters. So there's a troupe, and then there's a bunch of people that they confront. I don't want to go too much into the story. That's all why I'm being a bit vague.
No, that's fine. So there are lots of characters. Okay. And is the gut, do they have any time when they have monologues?
No.
Soliloquies?
Right.
Any time?
No.
Okay, there's a gap. You see what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So if you took like, Hamlet, right? We all kind of know Hamlet, kind of. And you took out all the soliloquies. I'm like, oh my God, they're just talking at each other. It's so gut punchy. Oh my God. He comes home from college and he's, right? You'd miss all those moments where they're just talking. Those are the songs. I mean, I'm not,
Right.
those are moments of song. So those are some moments of song. And, if you're writing music, of course, you want moments of between two of the you want songs between the characters as well, but those are starting moments of songs. Also look for things that they haven't said to each other. Character A, write a line going, character A, if I could tell them what I really thought, right? And then you have moments where if we could really have an honest conversation, about what's underneath the surface of this, this is what we'd say. There are some opportunities for that. Worst thing that can happen is that you write some really awesome songs that don't fit in the play, but you wrote them. You know what I mean? And she does her awesome gut punchy play, and you have a whole bunch of songs that are just mind blowing and cool. Okay, but you're always looking for those spaces, you know, where you're going to what you're making, which is great, Manuel. You want to make something that's additive, you know, which is great, and you don't want to be superfluous. Just look for those gaps where they're not, you know, what's underneath, what's underneath the surface, and where are the monologues or soliloquies.
That's
You know?
very helpful. Thank you.
Sure. And then the group, if we all could talk at once, what we would say. Those are group songs, right? You know, I'm just making this shit up as we speak. I'm so glad you're giving me this opportunity. But that could work. All those things could work. It's amazing. It just like if we all, you know, and that's a big group song. That's like the stage is full of people and they're all singing about, I don't know what the fuck, Oklahoma or whatever they're saying. Oklahoma. Don't get me started about Oklahoma. The state, not the musical. Anyway. You know? Okay.
Yes, that's very helpful. Thank you. It's given me like different.
Yeah. Entry, different points of entry, different, you know, got solo songs, interpersonal, like scenes, songs and scenes, and then big group songs.
Yep. Okay. That's great. Thank you so much.
So much.
Yay.
Thank you for your question, Emmanuel. We're happy to have you back. If anyone else has a question, feel free to raise your hand. Hi, Beverly. Thanks for being here. Feel free to ask your question.
Hi.
Hey, Beverly.
So my question is, I have a play that I'm working on that has a lot of research elements in it. And I wonder if you have any advice about how to manage research and creativity so that I just don't I mean, I feel sometimes like the research could be the only thing I do for 5 years instead of, you know, actually starting the writing. Is it a kind of an excuse? Like, do you have any tricks that you do when you're working that you kind of manage the two worlds?
I'm nothing but tricks, a whole bunch of fucking tricks. You're right. I love that. Here's a trick. Time. It's a trick.
Right. Yeah.
Time. Use time as a trick. Because you set your timer. I love that question, Beverly. You set your timer and you say, I'm going to do research for an hour, for example. Yeah. And then I'm going to free write. I mean, say you're just starting free write for 20 minutes. Yeah. And that's my writing time. I mean, if you have more time, then I'm going to do another hour of research. Then I'm going to do another 20 minutes of free writing. Mm-hmm. So you're practicing writing, getting in writing mode, you know, as you're also doing research, and you use your timer to tell you stop, stop, like that.
Right. Okay, that's a great way of doing it. Yeah,
that's super helpful, and I mean that's the sort of the best thing I can think of. I mean, you could also say, I'm only going to research for X number of days or X number of weeks or whatever. But I really think that if you research and free write, it's like cross training right from jump.
I think that's a really great idea because it also lets you know if your research is helping you as well, right? And as you go, rather than waiting till the end. Yeah,
exactly. And then you'll start to realize you'll start to research in a directed way. I want to know more about, you know, whatever, trout fishing in America. That was a book. But anyway, you know, I want to know more about trout fishing in America. I think I'll look up that. Oh, cool. Now I want to know more about this. So it'll start to guide you because your work, which already exists out there somewhere, is going to start to pull you toward it.
Yeah. Great. great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds like fun. And you'll be warming up. You'll be foregluing, what the Germans say. They go drinking before they go drinking. Foregluing. You warm up the engine. Yeah. You warm up the engine, you know?
Yeah.
Get ready. You warm it up. And so you're not just starting like, oh no, now I have like 5 years of research. Now I got to write. You do it like that. You do that.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Thank you.
Doesn't it make us all want to go and research something and write something new? Sure. I'm going to try that next time.
Thank you, Beverly. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Crystal. How are you? Feel free to ask your question.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hey, Gar-
I just had a very quick business question. Um, when meeting with different people or like say like producers or anything like that, should I have an NDA?
Your non-disclosure agreement. Right. Yeah, that is a really good question. If you feel like you should, then maybe you should. What you can also, I mean, you could, you could just have if you can draw, or you have someone who can draw one up for you relatively easily for low cost, that would be good. Just to make sure that what you're talking with them about stays private, right? You could also write up your pitch, or you have your deck, or I don't know how you prepare your work, and register it with the Writers Guild and or the Copyright Office, the Writers Guild of America and or the Copyright Office. And while that at least says, this is my idea. So before you go out pitching your ideas to people, you can register them with the Writers Guild of the Copyright Office.
Does that go for plays that are already copywritten as well?
You could it doesn't hurt, and it's not very expensive. I don't think I just think I'm not sure what it costs. It's not a lot of money. And it's you can just put on the script WGA registered and put the registration number there, which is nice. It just gives people who read it just, okay, oh yeah, okay, so this is registered somewhere. I can't just pilfer these ideas. I mean, honestly, and honestly, these days, hello, in the culture that we live in, people are gonna steal, they're gonna steal, they're just gonna steal. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and registered anyway.
Okay.
Does that mean, I'm sorry, I said that thing about people who are gonna steal are gonna steal. Yeah, but just to tell you that if people are dishonest, they will be dishonest regardless of how honest we are. We know that. Most of us live in this world where that happens. Not to worry. Ain't gonna stop you. Ain't nobody gonna turn me around. Register your stuff with the WGA.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have to ask Lou. Lou, are you still in Japan?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm actually having a salad. It's breakfast with chopstick.
What city are you in?
Thank you for asking. I'm in Kanazawa, Japan, on the West Coast.
Are you having a wonderful time?
Thank you for asking. I am having a wonderful time, and I'm getting good work done too.
Girl.
And it's been like, yeah, it's sort of dreamy. I've been writing in cute cafes, and one thing I love about being here, I need to learn the language if I'm going to keep coming back, but I can't lie. Not being able to eavesdrop or like pick up the energy off of anyone else is like a dream situation to make work in for me. I just feel like it's a beautiful blank slate, and I just been seeing gardens and art, and yeah, thanks for asking. It's been an incredible time.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
Yeah, thanks for asking, really. But I set my alarm at 7:54 a.m. where I am. I came on through. So thanks for letting me be, everyone for being here, for you. I'm plugged in. It's helping me a lot.
Goody, goody. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Hey, Joy, do you have another question?
Thanks. Piggybacking, I do appreciate that. Piggybacking on the topic that Emmanuel opened up, which is sometimes writers and composers do their best work in separate rooms at separate times. And another option is they co-create together all of the time. And so my question is, when co-creating is beneficial, what are some techniques or guidelines that can help both contributors collaborate effectively?
I found respect is the first and most important. Like you look across the table or whatever and you go, I know that you're really good at what you do, and I see the beautiful spirit in you, and this is going to be beautiful. I mean, this sounds really corny, but just give them respect, and ask the same of them, you know. Deciding on what the goals are for each session maybe is super helpful, because different people work brilliantly, but maybe in different ways. So we're working on this today, and let's see if we can get to this point today, you know. Yeah, because people have very different work habits and work ethics, and also you can have I don't know how you're working, getting a composer collaboration agreement before you start is good. Like, I'm writing the words and you're writing the music. Just kind of, and sure, there will be a little bit of, maybe a lot of crossover, but at least you have said at the jump what it is that you're doing. Those kinds of, I mean, if anybody else has things, you can put them in the chat at this point. But and little things, like for me, I like people who show up on time and do their job. That's just a personal. If you're gonna, if that's what you're doing, then I would appreciate you doing it. And I'll do my part, and we'll work together very well that way. And that works for any collaboration, really. Yeah.
So let's say we're in the midst of a
Uh-huh.
working session. What are some questions we can ask to help peel the onion, so to speak, to help us both come up with insights that neither of us maybe would have thought of by ourselves?
What's the story right here? What's the story?
Mm-hmm.
What part of the story are we telling right here? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the question. What part of the story are we telling right here? Oh, this is where they fall in love. This is the moment where they fall. This is the moment where she decides to turn them in to a pumpkin. This is the moment that's what's happening right here. You should, what part of the story is this? How do they have enough steps to get to where they want? What do they want here? What are they trying to achieve? Just basic plot questions. You don't need to be elaborate and all fancy about it. Basic questions. What's happening here? I don't get this moment. What is happening here? Well, I don't know. I just think it's a pretty song. Yeah. But why is she singing it? Or that's a beautiful piece of music. Why are we having it here? And if you lead with respect and you lead with love, and you can, like in a good relationship, like in a loving relationship with a partner, like a love partner, you can ask those difficult questions. And if you lead with love and respect, hopefully your partner isn't going to get offended because you think, this might not work here. Or why is this here? You can ask those more difficult questions, and create something really beautiful.
Yeah. I think our I'll just share a super short example. The discussion I had today was, does the character's epiphanies surface in the song, or do they happen after the song's over that the audience never gets to see? They'll see an outcome of the epiphanies, but
Mhm.
we don't hear them in the song. Like, there are pros and cons maybe to that.
Yeah. Or is it do you want it to happen in the song? And so if you want the epiphany to happen in the song, then bring it into the song. You know?
Yeah.
And you could say, no, I'm not feeling where this it would be better if the epiphany happened where the audience could see it. I mean, Greek tragedy is great. A lot of action happens off stage. But if we're not doing that, then maybe you should say, man, it might be more interesting if the epiphany happens right as we're watching. And then let's tweak the song so that it happens as we're watching. It's 6:00, beautiful people. Are we back next week? Oh,
We sure are. See you same time, same place.
thank you. Yay. Have a great